ever feel from eternity. Replace all the scars. Outside I hated I'm just going to give a little time for people to get on. So y'all check it out.
Yeah, come on.
To protect the inner me. So I would not lose my faith. I wanted to love me. I held on to God's path. I wanted to end me. You destroyed me with your wrath. I had to let you go. I had to go through to get to the place I needed to be. Found the one through pain who loves with energy. I had to make a way. I had to fight to stay. This pain kept coming to me. Now I know who I am. I am the power to be free. I wanted to hurt me. I held on to God's path. I wanted to end me. Yes, y'all. I wanted to end me. But you know what? I had to hold on to God's path. And especially with all the things that's going on today. This is Ron Anthony, Real Issues. And it's so many people that really wants to end themselves because of what's going on. And I have a great soul guest. This is my soul. Soul S. Whoa, this is my man right here. I have him on here. Never met him face to face, and it's like I know it's from within, because this man, Paul, I'm telling you, you have really done a lot of great things in my life to help change me and to mold me to who I am. And I give credit to all the people that's like that. And you are the one. You took me in to do music, and you never, ever met me and didn't see me until, till we started going through all of these with the Haps TV and the Facebook and all this stuff. So I really appreciate you for knowing the being that's within me. And I can tell you, it's people I see face to face that do not treat me the way that you do. And I really appreciate it. We have Paul, the musician, the man with the plan, the man that has all the creativity, that does everything. And I really appreciate you for being on Real Issues. And I know that there are some real issues going on right now in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, welcome to the front line.
Wow. Yeah. So can you just give a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Well, technically, I was a pastry cook, or a pastry chef. That career went out the door when I became disabled due to a genetic disease I have. So I had to leave that. I went into looking into music production, and I've been doing music production since. And I've met wonderful people on the way, like yourself. But me being who I am, I kind of look at those who are not looked at and try to assist them and bring them back out of the debris of their lives. With like my experience as a disabled person, that I had to change my whole life really. So I suppose the one thing I love having is empathy, and I think that's what we're lacking in this world now. And I think the word I should say is that people are immune to empathy.
Yes.
And what we're seeing going on in Australia is it's not Australia anymore. It's the thing that why I say there's such a lack of empathy is because 70% of Australia support what's going on. And that is gut-wrenching. And that's how far people have been seduced into this mindset of non-empathy. And it's not the Jesus I see. It's Christians, it's believers, it's atheists, it's everyone in this mindset of no empathy. And it's got to stop, people. It's got to stop now. And we got to become the light. And we got to show that empathy that needs to be. We are the kingdom, and we got to bring that out of us and show who we truly are, and not support this tyranny that is coming upon all the world. It's not just Australia. We're the test ground because they disarmed us. They took everything away. They put something, they grab something, they take it away, and then they put something else in gradually and gradually and gradually until finally, without us realizing, we have no arms, we have no protection, we just have a big bullet mark on our backs, a target. And we are targets now. And that's the way it is. But you know what? The sad thing is, the people are supporting it. And these protests in Melbourne, I'll tell you what it's about. I'll tell you exactly what it's about. It's not about hippies who live in a park with dreadlocks who are going, hey man, let's just protest about something. This is everyday working Australians. These Australians who work, who pay taxes, that pay to support those who are disabled. It's not the government that pays for the disabled or benefits of those who are out of work. It is the working class people who support that. And these are the people now that are out there fighting for their right to have choice. A simple choice. They don't want the vaccine. And if they do not have the vaccine, they will no longer be allowed to go into the workplace, and they will lose their careers, their jobs, their livelihoods, their loans that the banks own. They'll lose their houses. They'll lose everything. And this is what they're out for. They're fighting for the right of free choice, and that's it. And that's not much to ask. That's not something to look down on as a country. That's not what we are. And I'm sorry, myself, they're my heroes. They are my heroes. I can't be out there protesting. If I could, I would. But I can't. But they are my heroes. And they are the world's heroes because they are in the front line of what's heading towards you. Luckily enough for the Americans, when they say you get mandatory vaccines, you go out and buy guns. You can protect yourselves. You have the Second Amendment. You have that right to do that. We don't. We are alone and we have no one. But we do have one thing, a legislation that has now been pushed through by our government to say that any external security force that comes into Australia now has indemnity of their actions. So if the government brings in a security force, UN force, any force that comes into this country now, don't have to. They don't have any. What's the word? They have no recourse on them. They could do what they damn well like, and we are sitting ducks. And I don't appreciate that.
So you're saying, can you explain, like, okay, I know you just said that it was that the Americans have this and you all don't. Can you kind of explain that so that the listeners can understand exactly what you're saying? Is that, I mean, nothing will happen to whoever's doing this?
Well, I'll tell you, you have the right to bear arms.
Okay.
You have the right to protect yourselves. You have the right to overthrow a government that is a tyrannous government. Why the hell the Americans haven't done that yet, I will never know. Right?
Well, let me tell you, I can say the reason why is because no one really gets the de facto, and they don't know what's real or what's fake, because everything under the Constitution, and also they just mentioned the common law, but here it's been, no one really knows. And so it's like they changed it from for to of, so it walks the same, But if you don't know the difference, then you're going to sit back and say, oh, they're going to do this to me. And if you really do not know the common law and you don't have the power within you so that that power can show you what's really going on, then that's why they're actually agreeing with what's going on, because I know people right now knows nothing about what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. People don't know their constitutions. In Australia,
Yes.
no one knows the constitution, the law. Right now, I'll tell you, in our constitution, it is said that if a military, police force, or government um, basically um, is contracted, or let's say, like the WHO, or a directive is brought forth from a foreign directive,
Mm.
right? And police act on that. They and this particular company or whatever holds an ABN or is in itself a company or a business, corporation, whatever. That our police, if they act upon those directives, are acting upon against the Commonwealth. In other words, they
Right.
should not even be wearing their uniforms on the street because they are working for a company, a corporation. They are not working for the Commonwealth and representing the
Right.
people. Okay? So, in that alone, I'm afraid that I sent a message out to all the police, all the military, anybody, even the nurses or doctors or anyone who are actually enforcing these directives. They are enforcing, well, what we could possibly say is war crimes,
Mm.
okay, and treason
Yes.
against this country, because they are no longer working for the Commonwealth, they are working for the corporation. And that means that they don't represent the uniform of the Commonwealth, which is the people. So this
Wow.
is highly illegal. And this is our constitution that has completely been ignored. But what can we do? You know, it's all negative, negative, negative. There's a lot of false news coming from both ends, from the protesters. They're idiots that post up stuff, people with makeup with wounds and things like that to try to push the point. Stop doing that. Show the real material. Don't falsify it, right? And then you have the government that's doing that is infiltrating these groups and so forth and giving false information. It's just this whole, and as you said, Ron, no one knows what's going on. No one knows
They
who to believe.
know. They know, they do not know. And
And
as
this is
Helga
why,
stated, yet she said that's all over the world, because here is so much going on, even in the court system. You know what I've been through. I've
oh,
seen
yeah,
where actors are actually in the courtroom, and I'm like, what is this? I mean, there it's actors. People are acting. This whole thing is a big show, and a lot of people don't get it. I get it because I was involved in it when they killed my kids. And it was
yes,
nothing that I could do because I didn't know all of this. Aaron and Elijah is the one that opened me up to within. And so now I can see, and and it's like, if you don't see this, I mean, as long as if people would just go inside, even with what's going on out here, even what's going on in Australia, in America, all over,
that's
if
right.
you go, just stay inside. If you stay inside, you can actually, and I'm going to say it, a lot of people don't like when I say it, but people call it astral projection. You can leave, I say, you leave this body and you go in the presence of the Lord and you
Well,
tell everything.
as I've said before, Ron, God is consciousness. He's not a being and a man sitting on a throne, standing there 24 hours a day through
Right.
eternity, judging people. God is pure consciousness. God is spirit.
Yes.
To actually believe that God is sitting on a throne, you got to
Saying
get
you
away from
better.
your fairy. You got to get away from your fairy tale mindset of the Word of God. I come from a very Aramaic perspective of Jesus' language translation of the Bible, thanks to a Dr. Rocco Erico who is in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't remember the
Yes.
church, but he is an incredible theologian, and he brings it all from the Aramaic perspective, and you know at the end of the day, yes, it comes within, and God is it's total consciousness. That's why he
Yeah.
says he is omnipresent, because
Yeah.
he is right. What was God's really first command for mankind? It was to caretake of this beautiful creation he made, and that's
So
never changed.
so with that being said, how can we get the people to go back home within themselves so that they can look at what's really going on and
I'll
not
tell you the
fall for
answer to
what
that.
man is doing? Say that again.
Easy. I'll tell you what it is, where we need to go. And this is what my partner is writing about. She's bringing a book out called Innocence to Innocence, the God's Love Line. I probably didn't get that right, so she's going to shoot me later. But we need to come back to God's innocence. We need to become innocent again. We are born innocent into this world, and we go about our lives, and we're on this line. It's a line. And through life, we go above that line and below that line. Now, that line represents God's love. God's love never changes for us, but
Right.
we're the one that changes, or we perceive that God is not loving us as much, or God is not loving us as much. It never changes. God loves every person all the time, but we walk along this love line. But as we grow and we become aware of God, and he's already given us that spirit, it opens up somewhere in our lives. We've got a choice.
Yes.
We can take it on, or we can just leave it go. But if we take it on, we start realizing that we're going back to an innocence, right? We're going back to where God started us from, right? Childlike, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we start, but in innocence there is power. In innocence, you will get armed, you get armored. The breastplate of righteousness and all this. That doesn't represent, oh, we got the breastplate of righteousness and we got the sword of the
You're
spirit with the
right.
Bible. Yeah, onward Christian soldiers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, grow up. Get out of the fairy tale books and
Right.
understand that armor and all of that is is essentially to equip us to not go out and attack. You know what that armor is for? It's the armor to look into ourselves and become the people we need to be. That if we are afflicted for who we are and stand for,
Yes.
that we can not react. The armor is, and the innocence is, basically giving us the realization that we are responsible for what we decide on and what we do and
Yes.
how we approach it. Sometimes we die in the name of it. Gandhi was a great example. He said, what did he do? He called it, they called it, what was it called that he did? Uh, 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 Resistance. I can't remember what it is. Even Martin Luther King. But what he said is, we got to approach it with peace. Don't go and fight with the sword. Sit there. Public disobedience, right?
Yes. Yes.
And basically what he was saying is, no matter what is inflicted on you, don't you fight back, because once you fight back, then you have lost.
Yes.
Because then you show the aggression, you no longer become separate from them. And what does the Bible say? Be separate of the world, right? And
Yes.
to and basically the other one was the other one that really comes to me is be separate of the world and and keep away from things that appear evil.
That's
So if you're
it.
going to present that evil, you're going to be a reciprocate. You're going to receive it. And the thing is, if you fight with the sword, you will die with the sword. So how do we
Right.
deal with it? So then my big question, my partner turned around to me and said, well, we got to turn the other cheek and blah, blah, blah. And I was saying, God, it is so hard to turn the other cheek at this time. How do we turn the other cheek? What do we do? I want to get out there and bash those mother head across the brick wall,
I know. I
But
know.
God, how do I turn that other cheek? And basically, what I do how do I turn that other cheek? It's not my butt cheek either. But how do I turn it? I basically decide to. And that's all Ishua, or that's who I call Jesus. That's what his name was. I'm sorry, but that was his name. Ishua. Ishua.
Yes.
What he said was what he was doing. And what he died for is exactly for what is happening now. The Pharisees built laws upon God's law to control the people.
Yes.
And God was saying, Jesus was saying, your laws are not above God's law. It wasn't him dying on the cross for our sins and we do this and we do that, right? It wasn't about that. It was about the condition of us as people deciding to follow him. What is following Jesus? It's following his teachings. It's not literally following him and becoming Jesus. We'd never become Jesus. But he did say, we will do greater things. And we can as a
Yes.
people. And this is why going back to innocence empowers us to do the things he did and greater.
Right. And
Jesus, at the end of the day, you know what Jesus represented? He was innocent of all charges. He represented innocence.
And I want to say the other day when I was actually meditating, and I could, I mean, I'm sure this is for me, I could hear things that's going on. I could hear it's not even a voice, but it's a voice because it doesn't exist, but I hear it. And only I can hear it. Just like with you, only you can hear it. So the other night, I was asking this question. And so I was like, so you mean to tell me when I'm born, and make sure I get it right, when I'm born into this world as a baby, I'm young. Okay. I'm young because I'm innocent. And no one understands me, because you see the babies now, they're like looking at things and everybody's like, oh, this child is oh my God, this baby is just, but they really do not know the baby is very old from within because it's ancient. But out here,
you got it, brother.
Out here, I'm a baby. So as I grew up, I became lost from the ancient world. And so I was corrupt, which I was, and it got me so far away. And so now that I've been reborn, like they say, they started it with republic. I've been reborn into the spirit world, and now I'm ancient again because I know. See, when I went through
and that's
this,
the thing. When John the Baptist baptized Jesus, or
yes,
Yeshua, I say, Yeshua, I'm sorry to say, and not many people probably like this, but Jesus was just a normal person. He wasn't going there to expect to be open up and all of a sudden God opened his world to him and go boom. He wasn't expecting that. John the Baptist had a fair idea there was something going on there, right? But
yes,
Jesus, up to his birth, right up to that moment, he lived a normal life of a normal child. But he was curious and there was something special about him, right? But from the moment he was baptized, the heavens opened up.
yes.
The dove, which represents the Spirit of God, ascended upon him. And all consciousness, I will call it, was revealed to him. The universe was revealed to him. Everything was revealed to him. And then he had to go for 40 days and 40 nights or whatever it is to the desert. And then they said the devil went up to Jesus and turned around and challenged him. Well, I'm telling you, if Jesus was actually God at that point of time, that was saying, well, the devil went up to God and said, well, join me. I'm sorry, Jesus had individual choice. In other words, Jesus still had, well, what we would call his own free will to choose. And that's what that test was there for, to see if Jesus was willing to choose to follow through with what God called him to do or to leave it go. Right?
Right.
So, do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yes.
How would the devil challenge God himself? Join me, mate. If everybody says Jesus was God, and then the devil's coming after the God and going, hey, come on, God, let's let's just totally corrupt everything. Jesus had free will to choose, didn't he? Right?
Mhm.
That shows that he had humanity in him. He had flesh in him. Right? So, but thank you, Ishua, that you decided to go through and bring forth the message that God wanted brought forward to all humanity. And at the end of the day, you know what the simple message was? The simple message was, abide by my commandments, and above all, love. And it
Yes.
ends there. And that's where it finishes. And you know what? God, oh my goodness, God dignified mankind when he said, I am pleased. God is pleased with his creation. He is actually pleased with your flesh. He is pleased with who you are. He didn't create his flesh to say that it's evil. It was never evil.
Right.
Okay? But we perceive it, and dogmas and doctrines say that our flesh is terrible. No, the flesh isn't terrible. You know what's terrible is your free will to abuse what God gave to us. You make the decision whether you're going to kill a man. You make the decision if you're going to poison your body. You make the decision if you're going to fight a war. You make the decisions. And leaders and governments push us to those decisions and influence those decisions. So, as men of God and women of God and children of God, what do we do? How do we fight this tyranny?
Well, I can say for me, how I fight what's going on is I stay in the house, in the church. And when they're telling us to quarantine, I take it like they're telling me to stay in my house inside. So I don't live,
Mm.
because I know everything walks the same, but it's not. So when they say stay in the house or go in the house or quarantine, I'm quarantining inside and I'm looking out
Absolutely.
from here to see what's going on, but I stay inside. So I've been quarantined for a long time now. A lot of people take it as the physical, because really, this physical, what you see me sitting in, I'm sitting into space. And I say this all the time. It is what I created from somebody else's creation that came through the power of God that created it with our own vision. So I stay in quarantine inside of this house, this church.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
that's me, for me. And what
It
I
is.
would
It
say
is.
to all of the people that are listening, if you know how to go within and speak to the Father in spirit and in truth, and you'll get all the answers you need. Because what you see out here is what people are creating from their evil intentions from within them. What you see coming
That's
out of
right.
me, it's going to shine with the love. And that's why I can say for this particular man right here is that it's always been about love. And love is not just me saying, oh, I love you, I love you. No, love
Absolutely.
is when you go within and you forgive, and you even what happened with my kids. I have no malice, even with what's going on in the world right now, even in Australia, even in the Americas. Look what's going on right now. I still
Yes.
have no fear, and I have the love for all, because I already know the end result.
Well,
So I
that
don't
man
have
that's
anything to worry
in your
about.
country right now called Scott Morrison, America,
Yes.
there's a guy called Scott Morrison there at the moment. He's our prime minister. Well, he's the instigator. He calls himself a Pentecostal believer. He believes he was put there by God, and what he has brought upon his people is tyranny. So those who represent, I call him the Pharisee actually, because he's put his own law above God's law. A man of that stature and that belief would be putting above all things else is God's empathy and love towards the people. But that is not apparent. And yes, I was talking to my son earlier, and he said, "Well, it's all about the Rothschilds. Trying to all the money, the new world order. I believe there's a new world order coming. We're the testing ground. I believe that is true. But, I said to him, what he says, it's the Rothschilds. I said, it's not the Rothschilds. I said, take it this way. Our Premier, Dan Andrews, is taking orders from Scott Morrison. Scott Morrison is taking maybe orders from the Murdoch media. Who knows? But the Murdoch media are taking orders from the Rothschilds or whatever. But I want to know, and my interest would be, who is above all that? Because the Rothschilds are definitely taking orders from someone else. All right? So you can't pinpoint it. If you ever think Rome fell, Rome never fell. Rome just went on undercover. Right? We are still under, to me, it's like a Roman Empire. It's like we're under that Pharisaical law, right? I feel like we are being oppressed by Pharisees, that what the Pharisees did in Jesus' day, right? Why do you think the temple's veil was ripped apart? That was a representing, boom, that was total destruction of religion itself. That was a representation of religion and freeing people to have personal and free relationship with God.
Yes.
The apostles went out and started making churches, and that was their biggest mistake. It failed because we've gone full circle again into an endless loop through the centuries for 2,000 years. We still haven't changed from those days. Nothing has changed. It's just got more modern.
But you know what I can say, and I always say this is for me.
Oh, go for it, buddy.
What I could say is that the change comes from within. So all this stuff out here is going to continue. But when
Absolutely.
you're inside, it stops, because when you're inside, it's just like, okay, whoever created the thermometer, that's what it's about, because you're inside. So that little red thing inside, or whatever color it is, blue, whatever you have, that thermometer, there's a high and there's a low. So it's the same, but that's your choice.
You know what really annoys me? I suppose I don't go to churches because really I don't waste my space in them, because it's all dogma and doctrine and fairy tales, and not really getting down to the meat and truth of who God really is. Sorry about that, but I still love my brothers and sisters, and I don't prejudice against any religion at all. But I myself decide not to, because you know what? It interferes with my own personal stand of faith, right? But what I do find is, what really gets me is when people lift their hands up, right? I understand there's the Holy Spirit, but I believe the Spirit is in us already. I believe rather than doing this and trying to reach God somewhere with your hands, right? Put your hand here, because that's where
it's
God
in
is.
you.
That's right. Don't go up here. That's just all show to me. It's all like, oh, I feel it's emotion. You can't
And I'm
worship
saying,
on
just
emotion.
like I'm
You got
saying
to
about
worship
that
with
thermometer,
sincerity.
there's the inside, which is the high and the low. There's power in the low, which what we're experiencing right now, and there is power in the high. Choose. That's it. I choose to be with the higher power, so I can look down and see what's going on, so I can protect this.
We have neurons in our heart. There's as many neurons in our body than there is in our brain. This is the wonderful thing about God, right? So, do you realize that you see through here? You see through your stomach. You see through your heart. You think through your gut. It is all interconnected. This is science truth. It's not just here. It's not all here. It's God designed us. This is why we have the ability to heal.
Yes.
Right? This is why we have the ability to that's what I haven't been vaccinated. I'm one of the dirty people, yuck, but
it's inside. You're right.
Right, and I got healthy. I lost weight. I'm doing the right things to keep myself healthy, and I hope that if I do get the virus, if God decides to take me, I call it the continuum, right? Because it's not death; it's just continuation. So I call it the continuum, right? If God decides that it's my time to go in the continuum, well, fantastic, and glory be, and all the rest of it. But you know what? If God decides, well, I'm going to let you build an immunity towards this, well, glory be and fantastic. In other words, either way, I don't lose. I win,
Right.
right? So I think the freedom of choice part of it is that what I know of the virus or whatever, if it is a virus, but what I know about the virus is that if I pass, if vaccinate, I'm next to a vaccinated person, I'm still going to get it. That's the truth of it if they have the virus, right? It's proven, right? That's science. So if I get it, I get it. And you know what? At the end of the day, I put my life in the hands of God and trust. Either way, I do not lose, and I will never lose. And Christians are standing there so scared and fear and pointing the finger of people and saying, you must, or you, where is their faith? Where is their trust in God? I don't care. Get vaccinated if you want to. That's your choice as a Christian or anybody. That's fine. I am so blessed that you have decided to do that. That's your decision. And I honor that. But at the same time, don't you dishonor those who don't, because you're going to be answerable to that. But not answerable to God, you're answerable to your own conscience, answerable to your lack of empathy and love. You're going to be answerable to the destruction of your own innocence, which then does not empowers you, you lose power. You lose the authority. You lose it all, because then you're not acting in God's interest, you're acting in your own interests.
So what do you think is going on in since you're there in Australia as far as the spiritual world? I'm saying as far as
It's gone
of
quiet.
the power of not the lower frequency, but the higher frequency. What is actually going on within the people that are there that know that this is all just corrupt, but within them, they're sticking to I'm standing no.
Well, the funny thing is, there's more. Well, look, there's a lot of good Christians out there that are standing up and really, really making a voice, and good on them. And I think there is a righteous anger that we do have, and we appropriately should voice, right? We can't just sit down like lambs at the slaughter. I mean, um, I heard a good comment the other day. I love it. There's one bloke, he said, an army, when you're a soldier, you're a killer. That's your sole design. You were designed to kill. And anybody in the army you can't call yourself a good Christian if you're a soldier, right? Because you're a killing machine. God says they shall not kill. So basically, you're a killing machine. So you can't be a really good Christian, even if you want to be, because you were going against God's commandment, right? But yet, police are peacemakers. But then what he said, and this is from a military Christian, he goes, but my job, I look at it this way, my job is I can't judge the person I'm facing off with or shooting at. I will not judge him. I will protect myself. I will defend my country and people. But I leave it to God to judge him. But my job is to be the message, to send you to God to be judged.
Hmm.
In other words, I'll kill you and then God can judge you, but I'll just do what I need to do, right? So I love that, And so the Australian mindset, I think, is they've been peaceful. They don't want to fight. They don't want to cause. They're not damaging property, buddy. They're not going around like in the Black Lives Matters and burning down buildings and destroying. None of the cops are doing more damage with their rubber bullets and smashing car windows and shops than the actual protesters. They're keeping well away from people's businesses and things. They are marching peacefully. The shrine was a big one. The memorial shrine of our war of fallen, right, in Melbourne, and the police, they funneled them there. It was a propaganda stunt. The police funneled them. They had nowhere else to go but to sit in front of that place, right?
So I
And
saw why were the police officers driving around with their sirens on at that time? Just I mean, I've seen that over here before. What does that really mean?
it just means we're here and hello, and we want to get through. Probably just make sure people aren't on the road and in the way or whatever. But the police have taken a very heavy-handed. They're under orders. Look, I don't blame the coppers. Look, They're family men. They're afraid themselves. They're worried if they go against the directive or orders, they're going to lose their livelihood. They're going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose everything, just like the workers. And they're in this really horrible position of deciding, do I support or do I fight?
Yeah, I
Or
get
do
that.
I follow the directive? These people are as afraid as those who are the workers. Everybody's in that same boat. But at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, the same muscle that's above them is controlling both of them.
So what?
So
How is the
I
food
have
supply?
okay at the moment. I have no malice towards the police. I respect them. I don't respect their actions. I don't respect that many are following through with those actions. But I think there's as a believer, I have to believe that they they do it with a very heavy heart. Hopefully, and hopefully they'll put those weapons down and say no more. We can't do this anymore, right? But then you have your gun ho lot types that think they're real heroes, and I can bash someone over the head, no worries. So there's very different things. Food supplies. This report you sent about the truckie. When did you get that?
That was it? I think it all. I think it was yesterday. No,
When
today,
was
this
that?
morning.
When was that dated?
Uh that was
Because that was
he had just put it up. That particular, it was last night here. I know
okay.
you all a
Because
day ahead of us, so it was here.
so because trying to confirm it because this is not news that we've heard over here, and we're trying to
Mm,
confirm that it is actually really going to happen. So I can't say that it is a true statement at the moment until more sources come through confirming that the truckies are going to shut down the nation, and that's a positive move for us. We
yeah,
need to act. We look at this. Look, as much as we need peace, we still have to do civil disobedience. We still have to fight this because there's an agenda up, and it's out to get us, and it's coming to America, and it's not China. You know, my funny thing is they call it a new world order. Now let's define the word world. It doesn't say new America, Australia, Britain. Maybe we'll put Singapore in there. Maybe North Korea. We'll put maybe Russia in there as well. They'll join it. No, it's a new world order, which means we should call it the new entire world order, which means China is involved with it. America, it's all a smoke screen. They are all involved in the one agenda, and they're putting us smoke screens and making it look like, oh, we hate each other and we want to fight each other, but actually, they're all
right.
involved in it, right? It's a one world order, not a selective world order. So
O-
China, all the countries are involved with it. There's not
Now I
one
got a
country that
question.
isn't.
I have a question for you as well, as far as dealing with Trump. How is it over there with what they've been saying over here about Trump
Oh,
versus
mate,
over
you'll
there?
you've
Because we
seen
can't
a
get your information. So
you've seen a big turn of people realizing maybe Trump was right. Um, uh, I was talking to my son earlier, and he was like, "I thought, well, we all think Trump's a dickhead, all right? That's the truth of it, and he's as corrupt as be." But I believe that what's happening is his own livelihood is at stake as well. This is why he has been upfront about what's been going on because he's
right,
protecting his own interests as well. I've heard of people in banks, major billion-dollar banks and billion-dollar corporations worrying about things because they're worried they're going to lose it all. You see, when you
yes,
go to a one world bank, what happens to the rest of the banks? Goodbye,
right.
right? That's
Now what are they?
multi-million dollar corporations are going to be absolutely trumped on by this new order.
So what are they saying about Biden?
Biden, they all think he's senile. He can't even remember our prime minister's name. He's an absolute, in Australian terms, he's a wanker,
Hmm.
right? He's an absolute senile old man who has no measure to be the leader of the free world. And
Wow.
that is a big sentiment in Australia. A lot of people are not liking him. But again, this is from the groups I know. But you know what? Maybe 70% of Australia who support the dogmatization of people who are not vaccinated support Biden. So it might be only 30% of Australia that support Trump and 70% of Australia that support Biden. You know, I don't know. But I know in my circles that no one is really too keen on the fella, you know?
Right.
Um, so, so this what gets to me is 70% of Australians are supporting this horrible, horrible authoritarianism. You know, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, you know, today at 1 o'clock our time, they're going to announce the ruling of the in Arizona about what happened with the audit, because they have an audit which may, from what they're saying, this is not. At first, I want to let everybody know this is for entertainment purposes only, and
Hypothetical.
it's all entertainment, and I take things from my perspective as far as for me. So I've been listening, and I heard this morning that when they announced this, that it could possibly put Trump back in office as the 19th president, which it goes back to the Republic, because all what we've been through, according to what they've been saying that I've been listening to in the research, that it's all been de facto. So
Now,
it's not real.
that's interesting. That is really interesting because I heard a report coming from a Republican uh, from America who said that the Republican Party of America have said that they would possibly end up sanctioning Australia if they continue on with the violence against its people.
Mm.
It's a rumor. So I'd like to know if that's true. But certain measures in the Republican Party are saying this is not good. So that's interesting. That's really interesting.
So
And I think,
basically, is it like, okay, just like I'm from America, you're in Australia, and we're good friends. So everything is, it's all political, like they've been saying. It's corporations and all of this kind of stuff that
oh,
really doesn't.
we're owned by you guys. Australia's owned by you. We're part of your corporation.
Mm. And you know, a lot of people
We
do
even have
not
an
know
ABN number.
that it's a corporation.
Australia and
It's
America are a corporation, and it comes
yeah,
under the what they call the Australia. Our constitution at the moment has a thing called the Australian. Oh, what's it called? The Australian Bill or something like that. That is overriding our constitution, which is illegal. It's actually illegal for Australia to be a corporation of America. It is a act of treason against the Commonwealth.
yes.
Not that
And
we
that's
don't like Americans, but it's the principle that we, the people, don't own our autonomy
mm,
in Australia because we're owned by everyone else. You know what? We are like the world's whore,
gosh.
right?
Yeah.
Here, I
Oh,
will open our legs over here for you because you blah 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 blah. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. But you know what? Because we are so resourced, everybody wants our resources. You know what? If Australia closed down tomorrow from any trade across the world, we would survive nicely in just having a local economy because we have so many resources to
right.
self-sustain in this country. Not many countries in the world do have that. Isn't that interesting? But
Wow.
yet we seem to be just throwing our resources here and there to the world, and at the cost of the people losing. Everything is privatized in Australia by overseas corporations.
Corporations. And you know,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of corporations actually going down, because I mean everything is pretty much closing up, and it's like things are changing, and
Yeah.
it's getting rough, but it's gonna end up beautiful, because it's changing. And as I always say, it's just like we're walking into a major corporation, which I'm not a part of it, because I already know who I am. But if you don't go within yourself, and I always say that people hate when I say that, not all, but majority of people that I know in my surroundings, but it's all within you. So I'm not a corporation. They
Well, the
even
funny
have,
thing is, your last name, Ron Anthony. Anthony is your debt name.
yes, and,
Are
and
you aware of that?
what?
Your last name is your debt name.
That's not my name.
No, because
No, no, no,
once upon
no.
a time, in you look in the early days, you would have been Ron Anthony or Ron, son of.
No, listen, listen. Let me tell you. My I know what you're saying, but the name is Ronald Anthony Hatcher. That's all caps. The Ron
Yeah,
Anthony, that's a business.
yeah,
I'm a being. And
yeah.
so
You're
I
autonomous.
yes, I'm under the I'm an American. And so when you see Ron Anthony, that's a corporation. But a lot of people think it's me. It's not.
Mm,
I did
you're
it's the
wrong about
same
that.
thing that they're doing. But I
Yeah,
I this is the
exactly.
being
The
that's
Australian Code of Arms has changed,
yes.
right? It's a corporation symbol, all
Yes.
these sort of things. It's all that stuff. You know what?
All
At the
that.
end of the day,
Because the
but at the
being
end of the day,
inside of me is the one that's it's a living man. It's within me. So when you see Ron Anthony, and I tell them all the time, that is a business. But they like, oh, Ron Anthony. No, I didn't say anything. It's the business. So it's all, you
well,
know what? Let me tell you this. I saw this last night. If you look at, I don't know if you all can see that, but it's called The Masked Singer and it's virtual. So what they did is flipped it. So because we were the corporation, if you really believe that my name is Ronald Anthony Hatcher, if you really believe that in all caps, that's a debt name, like you're saying.
yes.
It's a debt. So I know that that's not me. That's my X-Rail. I just control it.
Well, I call myself Paul, son of the Most High God. He's my corporation boss. Deal with him. Don't deal
Yes.
with me because you'll really do you over. And that's my attitude. I am a child. I am Paul, son. I am his son of the Most High God. And you know what? That's my representation. That's who I stand for. He is my father. He is my king. He
Yes.
is my leader. And he is my boss.
That's it.
And and you know what? And when it comes down to anything like that, doesn't matter what you pin on me, I know who I am. And I will stand by
Right.
it. And I will die for that.
And I went, okay, I know I've said this a lot, but I have to say it. When I went through that ordeal about with my son, and you walked me through it, you knew everything. When I went through that about my kids, where they were abused and died from it by the teachers, and they all covered it up,
Oh,
just like what we're doing
yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's all covered up. And I've been the one that's standing along with some other parents. They call us the parents from hell because we are not taking it. We are not taking it because I know how I found out about the corporation because I'm like, how could y'all do this? And they sitting up here telling you that they did this. And I found out that it's because it's a corporation. That
Yeah,
name, Aaron Hatcher, in all caps, is a corporation. It's under the de facto government, so they can do whatever they want. I'm telling
yeah.
you. And so I had to endure that from within. That's why I always say that because the being within me stood up and this died. So everything died with the Ronald Anthony Hatcher, the debt, the debtor. Everything died with that. So the being
You know
stood
what I
up.
appreciate about you? You know what the big testimony for me is with you? Is at that moment when you got that anger and you were ready to kill and you had the heart attack and God stopped
Yes.
you dead in your tracks. I think at that moment was a turning point for you. That was the
Yes.
turning point where God said, this is now, Ronald, this is right now where we start getting serious together.
Yes, and you're right.
And not serious about revenge, get serious about our relationship.
Yes,
And
that
let's
you're
get it
right.
reeled out. And look where
It,
you've come to. It is all in the glory of God.
yes. And you know what, Paul? That heart attack, I know that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because
Absolutely.
in that heart attack, they have to kill you. So I went through this tunnel and I'm like looking up and I saw myself and I'm like, what in the world? Because I'm a silly character. I saw the being that was standing with me, that's still standing with me today. It's
Yes.
three of them. And you know, you might can see it. I know some people can, some people can't. I can see them. They talk to
I
me, they walk
sense
with me,
them.
they tell me what to do. Who will stand up in front of a district attorney and say, you don't know what you're talking about? How are you going to allow this to happen? That was the being, the power speaking through me, because really I wanted to boom, but
But
because
mate,
I chose not to.
but get this. God brought you back to innocence. Simply,
Yes.
you were helpless.
Yes.
You were back to being a baby. You could not do a thing. And the only thing that could be done is God to minister to you.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking
No
about when you
church
go back
helped
to
me.
innocence. No,
The
it's
church
not.
out
That's what I'm
here,
talking about when I say about
they
going back to
left me.
innocence, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying when you're going back to, because you know what? In that time, God empowered you with innocence and love,
Yes.
and then you were able to go forward, armored, and ready to take it on
Yes.
with the mind of God, with God, via God's will, with unconditional love towards anybody you face, even if they
Yes.
are the most evil person in this planet, because your reaction represents God's action. Right?
Yes.
You decide. It's up to you to decide whether you are going to be nasty with someone. And
Right.
Christians have to start taking responsibility for their actions, their thoughts, their mind, and they have to take responsibility for the false dogmas and doctrine that has been spewed upon them by false teachers and prophets. I don't think I can
You're
say I've
right.
ever seen a prophet in this modern age. They stand there saying, I'm a prophet. When a person says, I am a prophet, that's when I say, you are a liar,
You're right.
right?
And you know, the true church came. That was you, my mom, Cedric, Michelle. It was a Latasha and more. They all came. The church. I'm not talking about, and I have nothing against the building, because they pushed me to this point, and I thank God for it, because
You know what? I
they
agree.
pushed me home. They just
I
took
love,
me and boom,
look,
they pushed me in the house.
if someone has a faith and they say, this is what I believe, I go, I am happy for you. I, I really am happy for you. And then they say, but so what do you believe? And I say, well, if I told you what I believe, you'd call me a heretic.
Right.
And then they go, but, and then when I tell them what I believe or what my faith says, because I'm actually a believer, I'm not a person, I don't go around saying I'm a man of faith, because I don't have faith that there is God and hope at the end that he's there. I'm actually a person who says, yes, God is real. I don't need faith, but I do have faith in God purposing and supplying and need my needs when I need it. That's where my faith lies, in God's action. And faith is an
Yes.
action word to me, right? But as far as when someone says, so what, you a man of faith? I go, no, I'm not a man of faith. I'm a believer. Don't you ever call me a man of faith. I'm a believer,
Right.
right? So for me, we stand strong. And when someone, it's like, and they go, well, Jesus said this and Jesus said that and Jesus said that, and you must be born again and drink of the blood on Sunday and the flesh and go, communion, and then you're really close to Jesus. I said, if you can't be close with Jesus right now with me, you're never going to be close to Jesus or God. Well, actually, God. I'm sorry. If you need to go to church and eat a bit of his flesh and drink a bit of his blood, well, then you're really not close to God. because every day is being close to God. Every day is waking up and going, oh my goodness, I'm alive. I haven't gone into that continuum. Thanks God, I've got another day to do some stuff. You know, I don't fear death. Fear, I welcome it. And I
Yes.
think it's the continuation of life. Stop fearing death. They go, oh, but you might go to hell. Well, if Peter's standing up there with a book waiting for me and waiting for every person, I think Peter would be pretty darn bored at the moment.
Yes.
Understand that God is consciousness, is spirit, is spirituality. He is not an entity. Peter isn't up there in a skirt standing at this bloody pearly gate going, oh yeah, you're going to heaven tomorrow,
You're
sweetie, you
right.
know? Come on, get out of that bullshit. Sorry, I said bullshit. Oh my goodness. My decision. I'll pay for that, all right? You know,
You know
you
what,
know
Paul?
what, you know one thing. I'll just mention one more thing. You know when they were stoning, and Jesus went up and said, if any of you, like how he said it, you know, those who do not sin cast the first stone thing, right? And then he said to the woman, he said, repent and sin no more. Do you know that right at that point was the point where we are revealed that God's redemption and forgiveness was already with us. It didn't need Jesus to go to the cross for us to be forgiven anymore. At that very
Right.
point showed the forgiveness. And Jesus did not say at that point there, oh, you've got to come to me for forgiveness. He didn't say it there. He said, all he said was, repent, which is say sorry for my mistake, which that's what sin means, a mistake. Sorry for my mistake, God, and never do it again. And that's it. It's finished. You don't have
Right.
to go through the ritual of, oh, Jesus, in your name, I ask. No, you ask God directly for forgiveness. Jesus has nothing to do with it. It's you and him. It's you and him.
That's it. And I'm going to say this to you since you just
And
got
let
on
your
HAP.
sins forgive yourself,
Yeah.
themselves.
Paul,
Let your
you need
sins
to
forgive themselves. Go on.
you need to start your own HAPs because you're getting a lot of people on here that's loving you. They
Oh well,
loving
if
you.
people, hey, look, if people do go to my page on Facebook. It's called Blue Wolf's World.
Yes.
All right, if you
And
want to
this
type that up there, Blue Wolf's World, and join it. And you know what? If I have enough enough people join my page there, I would love to have a perhaps, um, uh, weekly show and talk to you people. I want to talk to you people. I love everyone. I don't, even the worst evil person,
yes.
I will love you. Even if I'm going to say, if you're a pedophile, I will love you. But you will suffer the consequences of what you do. But it's not my job to judge you. But you
Right.
know what? You will judge yourself in the end and you will go to death. Your conscience will kill you. And that is
Yes.
what hell is.
Yes.
Some people don't live on a conscience. So the consequences of things will end up getting them in the end anyway. Right? I don't care how filthy your so-called sin is. I don't care if you pick your nose in public or whether you've murdered or raped someone. I will love you. I'm sorry, I will love you. Like you, Ran, the person who murdered your child. You will
Yes.
still love them.
Still love them. Yes. And
But
with that,
but
I
but the
never
thing that we got
understood
to
it. I was like,
but
gosh, this
yeah, I
really
know,
is
right?
God. I'm like,
But
why can't I just go do something to these people? And it's
God,
like
I can't turn the other cheek here.
I couldn't do it. I was like,
Yeah.
and you know what? I
Gosh,
was
I
like,
can't take this.
I want to sit down and talk to them. And, every time I went to the attorneys, which is the big mess, they were like, I said, well, I just want to talk to them. They say, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. I say, I don't have any malice against them. You can't say that. You can't. Yes, I can. So I got rid of all of them because I see that they're trying to put me back with the state. And I want to say, the things that I wanted to say. I wanted to sit down and say, why would you even do this? What is going on? And I wanted the people to get help, but they told me I couldn't say it. And the reason
You
why I couldn't
weren't
say it, because
exactly right. That's it. You hit the nail on the freaking head there. You are not there for vengeance. You are
right,
there to help them that cause evil upon you.
that's what I
And
want.
you're
Yeah.
there to show that there is forgiveness. And you're there
Yes.
to show that there are consequences to what you do. But that's not my position to do that. I will love you still. My child in heaven right now loves you.
Yeah. So I'm like, and they wouldn't, even though they, we had all these different meetings and stuff.
Commenter,
I was
yeah,
like,
I can
man,
use that. Sorry.
they tried to offer me all. I say, I don't even want this. I want y'all to fix this.
That's right.
And so I turned them down. I was like, nope,
See,
I'm
the
not
problem,
doing
the
this.
problem with the world and our leadership and government and what's going on in Australia and everywhere at the moment is that there is no accountability and consequences, and that's what's missing, right?
Right.
And that's a shame. But again, I will tell you again that the disease that this world at the moment has is an immunity to empathy to humanity, and this is the problem. There is a lack of empathy towards humanity. And
Yes.
Jesus was trying to promote Ishua, I will say, Ishua. His, his message was about empathy towards humanity, not
Yes.
not and not to pin a certain sin on a person and say they are now unlovable. But he
Right.
was he was saying that your actions towards that person who has done that sin, right, is you're going to be accountable to that. And this is what Christians don't like, to know that they are even accountable to judge that person who did that sin against them. You got to, and that's why I said, turn the other cheek. Let me deal with it. But your job is to continue on to love them as hard
Right.
as it is. Otherwise, we're never going to see a change, and we're going to go through 2,000 years of looping through the same issues of life and the world.
Yes. And
So,
you're right.
people, I implore on you right now, stop being immune to empathy and love towards others. If you're at home right now and you have food and that person next door to you doesn't, why aren't you feeding them? If you're going to church on Sunday and you pray to God, thank you for all the provision I have, who have you provided during the week for? If you, if a husband says he loves his wife and he's committed adultery and he goes to church and then he feels guilty about it, why don't you go and be a man and face your wife and say, I have done wrong by you, but I want you to forgive me. And then the wife has to have the strength to say, well, I forgive you. Because that's where it's
You're
at,
right.
right?
Yeah.
It's all about how we feel and the consequence. We're all scared of consequence. We're all scared that we're going to get hurt. Stop being afraid of being hurt and man up
Right.
and be a man of God or a woman of God. Stop hiding behind the skirts of church.
And you know
Reveal
what? I've
yourself.
been
You know
doing
what?
that.
Become naked and expose the inner self of who you
Yes.
are. And stop putting up those walls. If people go, oh, my abuse put up the walls. No, you put up those walls through the abuse. But after that abuse, don't you make that decision to say, I will never be like that. I will never take that on. Or do you say, I am now going to be free of that? And I am going to love, and I am not going to allow that to stop me from being the person I truly am. And I'm not going to build walls. I'm not going to build brick walls and separate. I need to be bringing those walls down and connecting,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah. And you know what, Paul? What a lot of people, what I could say, what I've been doing since I started this journey, and it's been like 10 years now since both of my kids were, I can say they were killed by the school system. And
Absolutely.
And so now that I've been doing this, all the things that I've ever done to people, not the missions that I had to do, the things that I've done, I've been going back to people and say, I'm sorry for anything. And they were like, are you dying? Yes. The old me is dead. So I went back and I apologized. All the people, I mean, it wasn't that many, but the ones that I did something to, I went and I apologized. And it
You
got a
manned
lot of
up.
relationships restored that I messed up. And so,
Doesn't mean you get stepped over. I mean, people are going to
right.
use you up and things like that. Well, don't associate with them. Simple. Don't go on bitching on with them. You become as bad as them then. Just say,
And
look, I
I
haven't got
say
time
that
for you.
because a lot of people have to face the things. You have to face it. The other day, I went into this place and I was talking to, I want to talk a little bit about just a little bit, and then I'm going to get out of here because we've been on here an hour. And so I want to say this, just to explain to people about our young people. Okay. The younger generation are actually, now you might disagree, but let me explain it.
Go
Okay.
for it.
When you ask when a younger person is in front of you and you're cleaning up and you're going putting stuff in the car and you're taking it out and they're still sitting there doing what they're doing and you never ask them, they're not going to do it, because that way is because you ask and it shall be given to you. So if you never ask a younger person that's there to do something, then they're not going to do it. And it's not that they're being like, everybody thinks that the younger people, you owe them something. No, this is a way that God is teaching us: ask and it shall be given. So one day I tried this. I went and I was doing something. So I asked my son, I said, hey, can you help me do such and such and such? Oh, yeah, I do it. He was glad to do it. You see what I'm saying? So everything is being reversed, but a lot of people still stuck with, the young kids are not doing anything. You have to remind yourself, the younger generation just came from within. So I
The
listened.
thing is, and you know what? The older generation can get back to that. It's from innocence back to innocent. We need to
You're
go.
right. That's it.
And I really am proud that that my partner Judy Cox, she's going to be bringing out a book called Innocence to Innocence, and I'll let you know when it's out, because I'm not trying
Yeah.
this. She's been reading it to me because I'm not a great person that sits down and reads literature. She just reads it to me and lie back, and I take it in, and then correct her on her, and then she finds all the spelling mistakes and gets really annoyed. But um, to annoyed of herself. But the thing is, it is really good stuff. Honestly, it is good
Yeah.
stuff. And if you like what you heard from me, well, you're going to read a lot of that in her book when it comes out. And I'm not trying. I suppose I am trying to promote it because I love it
Yeah,
dearly. And
promote it.
she's worked
That's
so
right.
she's worked so hard over the past 2 years or 3 years on this book, and I think it's really appropriate for now. So so I'll let you all know. But I suppose, Ron, we should start up a Blue Wolf Ron show that we have conversations.
Yeah, we can.
People seem to be enjoying it, and we love yous. We love yous. You are all
Love you
wonderful
too,
people.
man.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know that's listening that that Paul and Judy are remarkable. And I want you to know that if you just coming on, this man is a producer. We have done songs together, and everything about him is creative. So this concludes everything with real issues. Anything else you want to say, Paul? And if Judy's there, can she peep her head and say, hey,
Hey, Judy, come here for
Judy?
a minute. They're calling for you. She's coming. Yeah.
Okay.
No. I want to do some more songs with Iran, and
Yes.
I've got some material there. I've just got to get off my bum and get it up to you. And it doesn't matter. Look, she said, "Hang on, she's coming." But
Okay.
yes, I would love. I'm doing an album at the moment. I want you to do a couple of songs on it. The actual title of the album. This is my first album. Is called Apocalyptic Lies.
Mm,
And it's basically an album of truth. I believe
that's good.
um, that it's about the dogma and doctrination of the world.
Did you
Hang
see
on a
the
minute.
comment? Helga said, hello, Judy, and top comment, this commenter is Heavenly Dew said, I can sing in the key of me.
All right. This is a bit of a this is a taster. There's no vocals yet. I want you to do this song. Can you hear it?
No.
Can you hear it?
No.
Can
You
you hear
probably
it
have to
now?
put the mic to it. We hear it a little. Nothing.
No, like it's not coming through. Anyway,
Let's do it. Oh, there's Judy.
here's my
Judy.
lovely partner Judy. Get in the screen.
Hey, there you go. Can you
I
duck?
don't know
There
what's
you go.
going
There
on.
you go.
Oh, there it is. That's weird. Hi.
Hey, Judy. We can't wait for your book.
Oh, okay. There's not enough room there, Paul.
Here we go.
There we go. Okay.
Yes. We
It's
can't
actually
wait.
called
The book. The
Paul
book. The
always
book.
gets the title wrong.
Can she
Yeah.
hear me?
Go on.
I said Paul always gets the title wrong. Never gets it right.
Yeah. Oh, what is it
called
called?
It's called The Mysterious Journey of God's Love Line from Innocence to Innocence.
Oh, okay. So let me know because I will push it to push it and
Yeah,
read it and buy it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's basically it's about my journey and what I've endured a bit, but it's all about your faith and your walk on God's love line. I was just finishing it off before, actually.
Oh, isn't that good?
The final bit of handwriting. I've got a few other things to put together, but yeah, hopefully not far away. My beautiful daughter-in-law really got into me the other day and really inspired me to get the job done because she herself, she's doing some artistic work. She's an illustrator. And yeah, she's doing the cover for me and she's working on that at the moment. We've been discussing a couple of other illustrations that I would like to put through it. You know, I talk about things like the butterfly effect.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Cause and effect, ripple effects, things like that. Well, you know, one thing offsets another and, you know, reflection, meditation, what gets you through those really difficult times. You know, it's really, really hard. You know, so, and what else? There's just so much in it. To be honest, there's a lot of different subject headings that I cover.
Wow.
But I just keep it lined up with, you know, how does it fit in with the mysterious journey of God's love line from innocence to innocence. The last chapter that I just did, or subheading it, is called The Gateway to Redemption. And that was something I actually really enjoyed doing. I've enjoyed that. So that's done now. And now I'm just finishing it off, just that tail end, you know, that my little bit from me.
When do you think it's going to be completed, like approximately?
Oh,
so we can...
I am really hoping to get it out. Where are we? We're nearly the end of September.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
We've been in 200 and something days lockdown.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been that. Look, I know it's been horrible and it has been quite stressful as well. It causes a lot of anxiety and so forth like that. And I'm a carer for my mum, so I'm having to run around and do things for her and keep her spirits up as well. But
yes,
it has been a blessing in disguise because it's actually given me the time to get the book.
Things are, yes.
You know, because you do a lot of editing more than once, you know, it just goes on and on and on. I've just got to run it through another editing program. So hopefully within the month. That's my
timeline.
Yeah, that's what I've put on myself. So I'll probably stress myself out trying to get there. But yeah.
Isn't she beautiful?
Yes. A lot of people here stating that they want to purchase your book. I have a lot of people stating they want to read it. So that's good.
Actually, I've had quite a number of people that I've talked to. I'm reading it to my mother at the moment because she's got macular degeneration, so she can't see very well. So I've been reading it and she just sits there and cries and she goes, "This is so wonderful. Oh, this really it'd be great if this was out there now to be helping, encouraging so many people." You know, my whole aim is my aim through it is where there is the doubts, the fears, the apprehensions, and all of that, we can still find hope. There's still hope, and that's the encouragement, and that's what my mum's been enjoying about it. And she's 86, so she's at the getting to the end of her age, if you know what I mean. So she's just loving it, and it's opened up many doors between us to talk about the Lord and what is beyond the physical life, the physical world, and great things are yet to come.
She's got great continuum.
So it's I love it. It's given me a lot of inspiration and ideas, and I have incorporated them in the book. So there's been a lot of people that have helped me, inspire me with a few thoughts and ideas. I just run with them. That's, just my thing. Like I was up all night last night because I could not sleep because I had this thing in my head. And I'm thinking, I am not going to get any sleep until I get this out,
That's it,
Yeah, drives me insane.
We didn't get to bed last night at all.
At all. No, we were both busy doing our thing. But that's when it's nice and really peaceful, and you actually get that, creative, but also spiritual flow for me, because that's where I really connect with the Lord.
That's good.
And, seek Him for the guidance and the inspiration. And what am I meant to say here? How do I put this? Or I know what I want to say, but it hasn't quite formulated yet for me to get it out. And it happens often, and I'm up, at 3 in the night. There's other stuff that I've written as well, which I'm looking to put out there at some point. One is a Journaling Journey series, and that's about what is journaling about, how do you do it, and some helps in understanding more about you, your relationship with others, with God, and the world in itself. So a lot of little scenarios, quite a little bit more involved, but that's fun. I've just got I want to update that one a little bit, and I'll be getting that out there as well soon. So, so there is every cloud is a silver lining or a blessing, even in this time that we've endured. And these last few weeks have been a bit trying, but, there's still hope. And we're watching some things happen that are quite miraculous. Even the connection that Paul's had with you and the encouragement and the love from you and all your people across the other side of the world. It's been, for us, that's just everything. You got no idea.
You got no idea how much we appreciate you in the USA. Charlie Mato Toyala, my Native American friend. Then Ron, man, without you, you're my brother.
Yes, same here. How you say it? Same here, mate.
Mate?
Yeah.
Starting the crows, mate.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you all. I thank you all for all that you all are doing, and also to mention Judy can sing, so she missed that. I've heard you sing, so
yes.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. We haven't done much.
Yes, you can, because I've heard
it. Another thing. Even in amongst all of this, I've still been writing because I do a lot of Paul's lyrics. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell him.
So I've got a plethora of lyrics just waiting for him to produce some music and get it out there. And there's been a couple. I said to him, "Oh, this would suit Ron, I reckon," or or this one or that one, So yeah,
I'm ready.
Certain styles.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so we're going to get out of here, and we appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in, all of the listeners out there. Paul, you got to you got to get your thing going with the hats, because all these people, I'm looking at the comments, they love you. They love what you're doing. Thank you, Judy. Bye, Judy. Bye.
Bye.
All right, love you, Paul. Thank you, and you all have a good one. This is Ron Anthony. Real Issues until tomorrow. I'm out of here.
And thank you, all you people on the side there, all Heavenly Jew and my Helga and Jenny and Giannine. And all the top commander, you've been awesome. Yeah. All right. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.